it is now 7 o'clock, and with that, we would do a recall to order of a regular meeting. Jackie, can we please start with a roll call?
Amanda Harness.
Here.
Sarah Davis.
Here.
Steve Byers.
Here.
Ariel Owens. Christopher Boyce.
Here.
Stacy Ramirez.
Present.
Dante Bynum. Here. Jenna Zimmerman.
Here. Alright, next item is public comments. Members of the public who wish to speak to the board shall complete a request card prior to the start of the meeting. This section of the meeting will be reserved for comments from the public. All comments should be limited to 3 minutes. Criticism of individuals is not in order. Okay, and we do have one comment from Mr. Mark Shervat on sales tax.
I remind this board that start the timer over. The number one responsibility of this board is its fiduciary responsibility to the taxpayers. The sales tax increase referendum proposal that's on the agenda tonight will put an unnecessary strain on those who can at least afford things. It represents an increase for your constituents in District 428 alone, 8% to 9%. When you calculate that increase, that's a 12.5% bump up in the sales tax. This board and administration have a very myopic view of the reality that consumers and taxpayers face in your jurisdiction. Do you know that Mayor Barnes, Bill Nicholas, and the city of DeKalb are also proposing a 0.25% sales tax increase? This would bring the total rate to 9.25%. Another factor to consider is the future 2% RTA tax that would go into effect countywide if Metra were to come to the city of DeKalb. When all is said and done, in a couple of years, District 428 residents and shoppers could see a general sales tax rate of 11.25%. The restaurant and bar tax would be 13.25%. It's absolutely sickening to see the school district going for the gold. This proposal goes for the maximum amount of 1% when it could have chosen a lower figure. This is pure greed. During the presentation to District 428, the last meeting, it was pointed out that this was passed in Boone County. The school district in Boone County put the revenue from the sales tax increase toward directly reducing property taxes. This district has made no such promise and intends to spend every single penny on unneeded spending. The school district is sitting on a boatload of cash when it failed to keep its promise to hold taxpayers harmless from the most recent property tax levy. Certainly smaller school districts in the county could benefit from this, but they will benefit from this in a minor way. District 428 will get the pot of gold with this sales tax increase. This tax will further drive consumers to online services like Amazon, where you only pay 6.25%. This will hurt local businesses in the boundaries of District 428. Residents of this community distrust this administration, its finance director, and school board to keep their promise. I was saddened to see a post today by District 428 on social media that stated what is being asked for consideration was brought forth by the DeKalb County Regional Office of Education as requested by other county districts. This is a total lie. The administration or whoever controls the district's Facebook page, the regional Office of Education did not bring forth this proposal. It was brought forth by Sycamore School District 427. The Regional Office of Education would only certify this initiative to the county clerk for inclusion on the ballot once 50% is reached across the county. Clearly, this is not in the interests of the residents that reside within District 428, and a no vote is encouraged. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sherrod. All right, moving forward, board correspondence. Do we have any board correspondence? Anything? No? You sure? Okay. All right, so, student board correspondence.
We've been recently looking into bringing back the SIT conference, and that's being brought to discussion to hopefully happen later this school year. Yeah.
Well, thank you. Still staying busy during the summer, so thank you for that. Any questions about that? No? Okay, cool. Thank you again, Jenna, for the work that you're doing. All right, next item, it is to approve consent agenda items. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the attached consent agenda items 5B through 5F, board minutes, from 7/16/24, personnel action items, purchase order requisitions, NIU agreement between DeKalb Sycamore football game, and the employment contract for Little John's principal. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Fred Davis.
Yes.
Steve Byers.
Yes.
Ariel Owens. Yes. Christopher Boyce.
Yes.
Stacy Ramirez.
Yes.
Dante Bynum.
Yes.
Amanda Harness.
Yes.
Thank you. All right, next item, this is the DeKalb County Area School District County School Facility Occupation Tax. This is an action item. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the resolution directing the Regional Superintendent of Schools for the County of DeKalb, Illinois, to certify to the county clerk of said county the question of imposing a retail occupational tax and a service occupation tax to be used exclusively for school facility purposes, school resource officers, and mental health professionals for submission to the electors of said county at the general election to be held on the 5th day of November 2024. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Steve Byers.
No.
Ariel Owens.
Yes.
Christopher Boyce.
No.
Stacy Ramirez.
Yes.
Dante Bynum.
Yes.
Amanda Harness.
No.
Fred Davis.
Yes.
Next item is item B, 2024-2025 Parent-Student Handbook. This is an action item.
Hey, can I explain something real quick?
Yes.
I'm gonna tell you why I voted yeah. Because I know I'm gonna get ripped tomorrow, and I don't care. I've been married long enough, it's all right. I feel like as a taxpayer, and I pay a lot of taxes, trust me when I tell you that, I get everybody's complaint, but I also feel like it's up to the taxpayer to make that decision. So if they wanna go vote, then they go vote. You have that right, and it's a privilege. I will be there to vote. And that's exactly why I voted yes. So I wanted you to know that.
I'm with you on that. I also agree to give people the option to decide for themselves. So this is not something that we ourselves are passing.
And so you've got it for tonight for the post. With us, that does make more than 51% of the county has voted yes for the school districts, Mark.
I couldn't, I'm sorry, one more time.
I said with us voting yes, that is 51% or more of the county.
Yes, I'm aware of that, right, and that, Mr.
To give
Davis
people
was
a
the reason why.
choice.
Thank you.
All right, 2024-2025 Parent-Student Handbook. This is an action item. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the 2024-2025 Parent-Student Handbook as attached. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Ariel Owens.
Yes.
Christopher Boyce.
Yes.
Stacy Ramirez.
Yes.
Dante Bynum.
Yes.
Amanda Harness.
Yes.
Fred Davis.
Yes.
Steve Byers.
Yes.
Thank you. Item C, Courageous Principals Leadership Development Program. This is an action item. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the administration to attend the Courageous Principal Professional Development at the Deloitte campus from September 20th through September 22nd, 2024. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Christopher Boyce.
Yes.
Stacy Ramirez.
Yes.
Dante Bynum.
Yes.
Amanda Harness.
Yes.
Fred Davis.
Yes.
Steve Byers.
Yes.
Ariel Owens.
Yes.
Thank you. Item D, Press Plus 115. This is an action item. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the Press Plus 115 release as attached. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Stacy Ramirez.
Yes.
Dante Bynum.
Yes.
Amanda Harness.
Yes.
Fred Davis.
Yes.
Steve Byers.
Yes.
Ariel Owens.
Yes.
Christopher Boyce.
No.
Item E, Skyward Conference. This is an action item. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the request to travel out of state for the Wisconsin Skyward Users Conference from October 20th through the 22nd, 2024. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Dante Bynum.
Yes.
Amanda Harness.
Yes.
Fred Davis.
Yes.
Steve Byers.
Yes.
Ariel Owens.
Yes.
Christopher Boyce.
Yes.
Stacy Ramirez.
Yes. All right, item F, 2024-2025 sub-rates and minimum wage. This is an action item. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the 2024-2025 sub-rates and hourly rates. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Amanda Harness.
Yes.
Fred Davis.
Yes.
Steve Byers.
Yes.
Ariel Owens.
Yes.
Christopher Boyce.
Yes.
Stacy Ramirez.
Yes.
Dante Bynum.
Yes.
Okay, item G, Verkada One Security Conference. This is an action item. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the request to travel to the Verkada One Conference. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Fred Davis.
Yes.
Steve Byers.
Yes.
Ariel Owens.
Yes.
Christopher Boyce.
Yes.
Stacy Ramirez.
Yes.
Dante Bynum.
Yes.
Amanda Harness.
Yes.
Thank you. Item A, future elementary school updates. Do we have any updates? Okay, being brought forward to us by Ms. Tammy Carson.
Just wanted to show the audience and the board some updates on, thank you, on some of the progress at the new elementary school. Just a couple of quick pictures. This is, what is exciting to me on this one is this is the back view of, on the left side, you're seeing the gymnasium storm shelter. And then the 4th and 5th grade wings, which that roof structure that you're seeing, that's the innovation pod that's getting built back there. So that's actually a view kind of from the Garden Road property.
I have a question.
Sure.
So at least when I was in school, the storm shelter was always like a internal wall. So how is a room where almost every wall is an external wall, I guess, safe from the tornado?
It's actually built to very specific standards that are dictated for a storm shelter of the size and the number of students that we house. It can be a gymnasium or it can be a standalone. So it is very high level safety, as well as the HVAC system is self-contained. It wouldn't be a rooftop unit that would be exposed to a storm. It is self-contained. There are bathrooms inside. There's specific storage inside of this area so that we are able to be in this space, I believe it's for a 3-hour window at a minimum. And we can talk about how that could work for not only our students and our staff, but potentially some community members and neighbors if needed, should the situation arise outside of school hours. So, but that is very, very specific, and it's pretty pricey because of that. This is actually the inside of the gymnasium storm shelter. You're starting to see some of that come together, so it's starting to look more like that gymnasium. And the last picture I have, this is, I thought was kind of a neat one to bring forward tonight. This is the front of the building where the entrance is to our main office. As you can see, the different types of shapes that are along that, those are the windows that are being cut in. So if you remember from our drawings and renderings we had, there were different shaped windows and some different primary colors. So we're starting to see some of those shapes take place to show that it's really is starting to look like a new elementary school. So hopefully I'll be able to bring some more pictures to everyone as we continue to progress. Just some other quick things, the north bus turnaround and the detention pond excavation are going to be starting in the next few weeks. That's in the northeast corner by the entrance off of Ridge Road. The MEP's rough-in work, that continues throughout the existing building, and the steel part erection will be completed around August 16th. The roofing has started on the existing building we've had some great weather this week for them to get started on replacing the roof on the existing building, and that'll continue as the additions get complete so that we are weather tight by November is the goal. So, any questions I could answer?
Thank you for the update.
Thanks.
Thank you.
It's always awesome to see the pictures to go along with what you're sharing, so thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, any questions at all? No? Okay, thank you. All right, next is new business administration, new business/administration. Item 8, DHS Madrigal retreat, out of state overnight. This is an information item brought to us by Dr. Larson.
Good evening, board. So here we have on August 23rd, we have Madrigals that is requesting to go to Williams Bay, Wisconsin for the day. They do just a team building thing with low ropes, courses, and things like that. The reason why it's information and action, again, it's pretty close to the wire, but we were able to get in on this opportunity at the last minute. There was a cancellation, so we like to do that at the start of the year so it builds camaraderie within our team. It is just for the day in Wisconsin. The cost is $860 for the course and $330 for lunches. There's gonna be no charge for our students. Any questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you. All right. Since this is an information action item, it is recommended that the Board of Education approve this request for the DHS Madrigal Group 2 travel to Wisconsin on August 23rd, 2024 for their annual retreat. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Steve Byers,
Yes.
Ariel Owens,
Yes.
Christopher Boyes,
Yes.
Stacy Ramirez,
Yes.
Dante Bynum,
Yes.
Amanda Harness,
Yes.
Fred Davis.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Item B, approval of MOU with Family Service Agency. This is an information item brought to us by not Kyle today. Do you mind reminding me of your name? I apologize.
Base, okay. There we go. Good evening, I'm Lisa Becker, I'm the Assistant Director of Student Services, standing in for Kyle tonight. He sends his regrets, he had a family emergency, so thank you for having me. So our first MOU here for information is for the Family Service Agency. And so we have a fantastic relationship with Family Service Agency. They helped us serve over 400 students last year, in addition to the services that we are able to provide internally. Sarah Bates, our SEL coordinator, is pretty integral in that relationship. So this is the MOU outlining that they will provide services that align to our tiered system, meaning they will provide some preventative care, classroom lessons, things like anti-bullying lessons and such, but also individual or group counseling as needed. This is of no cost to the district. It's paid for through grant or Medicaid funding through the students. So for information, we request that this MOU be approved at the next board meeting.
Do we have any questions? No? Thank you. All right. Then item C, it's approval of MOU with the National Youth Advocate Program. This is an information item as well.
Yeah, so similar to the Family Service Agency, this is a local community resource that's grant funded, so again, no cost to the district. They provide after-school programming for our students, so they provide things like tutoring, they'll do some extracurricular activities, some mentoring, life skills programming, things like that. So really providing some structure for our students so that they're maybe not going home to an empty house or get some help with their homework, things like that. So again, no cost to the district, and it's a memorandum again of understanding to be approved at the next board meeting. So any questions about that one?
No questions? Thank you. All right, and then the next item is the item D, Mental Academy contract renewal. This is an information item.
So as you know, we have a longstanding relationship with Menta. They serve many of our students who need additional social, emotional, or behavioral supports that maybe are in addition to what the district can provide. So what this MOU is for is specifically 3 programs that we contract with them. One is an alternative to suspension program, meaning if children or students are suspended from their schools, instead of going home and doing whatever, maybe doing PlayStation, on the streets, they can attend Menta's alternative to suspension program where they receive tutoring, maybe some counseling, things like that. The second program is our SIBS program, so this is a crisis stabilization program, oftentimes used sometimes with our younger students who may experience a severe mental health crisis, and they're able to provide those wraparound supports, and they're able to deploy that pretty quickly. And finally is their special education services. They offer credit recovery. So this could be students who are struggling in the traditional high school and need some credit recovery support, either in a small group or independent online learning, depending on what best meets their needs. You see that there is a fiscal impact there. The total for the school year for all 3 programs, $631,407 that's been accounted for in the budget. Any questions about that?
I guess my only question would be, so we can get 46 slots for 392,000. But then on the flip side, this other program for only 10 slots is 238,000. So I guess when we employ an army of psychologists, therapists, and all those things in the district, why are we now paying another almost $250,000 to send them to another building at a premium cost to provide the same services out of district?
Yeah, no, thank you for that question. So the alternative to suspension program, like for example, this would be students who, based on the code, let me back up. Based on the code of conduct, our administrators may need to suspend. So it could be, for example, a drug offense. And so while our counselors, psychologists, things like that, are providing some of that tertiary support on the front end, because of the code of conduct, may need to make that decision that child's suspended. And our administrators really do go through those decisions pretty carefully. That's where, because they're suspended, they're not allowed on the campus, but they could be allowed on Menta's campus, and we're staying compliant with some of our special education laws, for example, that require us to continue provide services. So that's why you'll see a little bit different in some of the pricing. Some of this includes some of those special ed services, counseling, things like that, where perhaps the online credit recovery, that's for a gen ed population, and don't require some intensive services. Does that answer your question? I can also come back with more information. Sure, you're welcome. Any other questions? Okay.
All right. Consensus to bring this back?
Yes.
Thank you. All right, item E, approval of MOU with Greater Family Health Dental Clinic. This is an information item.
So we're really thrilled to have this beginning partnership with Greater Family Health. We're really trying to expand our community partnerships. Some of you maybe remember pre-COVID, we would bring in mobile dental units for our students. So we have some dental requirements by the state, kindergarten, 6th grade, there's a couple other grades in there where the children have to have their dental exams. And sometimes there's barriers for families in our community to make those dental appointments, and so we'd love to provide that service here. So really, we're just bringing this back after kind of a extended COVID break. Our health services manager, Stephanie Connon's been really integral in this, and so this MOU just covers that a clinic will be held at each one of the schools for so many students with the option of having more clinics if need be. Again, no cost to the district, they're billed separately through Medicaid or private insurance, depending on what the students have.
Any questions about that? That's awesome.
All right.
Thank you.
you
Consensus
so
to
much.
bring that back?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and then the next one is item F, Professional Relations Committee, PRC, DCTA Program / course approval, salary schedule credit, and CWC course approvals. This is an information item brought to us by Ms. Teacher Salas.
Good evening. So PRC is the Professional Relations Committee that I co-chair with 2 other folks from DCTA. And this is where DCTA members can submit coursework and or programs for approval through the committee for movement on the salary schedule. We had a meeting. These are the new courses and or programs that were submitted by staff and submitting to board for approval. Pending approval, as they complete coursework leading towards the completion of the degree or the courses that have been approved, they then annually are able to move on the salary schedule.
Any questions? Consensus to bring this back?
Yes.
Thank you. All right, item G, DFSS LOA classification movement from maintenance 2 to maintenance specialty. This is an information item brought to us by Ms. Teacher Salas. Ms. Teacher Salas.
Myself and Tammy met with DFSS to discuss this. In the contract, there are classifications for their positions. We have maintenance 1, maintenance 2, and then maintenance specialty. In the contract, it outlines how a staff member can move from maintenance 1 to maintenance 2, but it does not define how to move from maintenance 2 to maintenance 3. It is a practice that we have done over time, and now bringing forth additional recommendations, we wanted to memorialize what the process is. So this MOU is stating that the process is that we meet with the leadership of DFSS to notify them of the recommendation to move. Pending that discussion, then we bring it forward to the board for approval for the reclassification for movement on the salary schedule. So pending the approval of the LOA, then we will have memorialized the practice that we will be moving forward with.
Any questions about that?
Since Tammy, you would be overseeing that as the Director of Facilities and Operations, and it just says that they've met the specialty, what is, I guess, the criteria for the specialty?
It's stated in the job description that there is a requirement in the specialty level that they have either attained a specific certification, could be related to HVAC or another trade, or they've been part of a trade union prior to coming to the district position.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Consensus to bring this back? Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item H, FDOSP LOA pay adjustment for select staff compared to starting pay. This is an information item brought to us by Ms. Teacher Salas.
and that is FDOS, which is our Office Professional Union. So as we look at the contract, we have 3 FDOS members that their pay from last school year to this school year, even with their pay increase, is not at the minimum, it is not at the starting pay for those classifications. So in looking at that, it just kind of happened naturally how numbers work themselves out. Nothing was done wrong, but just the way it worked out, they did not fall at least at or above the starting pay rate for their classification. It affects 3 staff members. So based upon that, I've worked with FDOS and we've come up with a plan on how to address that, but we also want to memorialize the plan for that. This LOA says that we are looking at those 3 staff members, we're looking at those starting rates, looking at their current pay rate, and making the necessary adjustment. We will be in negotiations with them starting in October. Their contract expires January 2025. So we will address this for the good of the whole membership group at that time at negotiations.
Okay, any questions about that? Consensus to bring this back?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and then the next item is item I. Fiscal year 25 budget information. This is information brought to us today by Mr. Amir Doka. Where's the presentation?
So it's budget season, and I wanted to get things a little started with some information. We will bring a tentative budget to the next board meeting for approval. At that time, it will go through a public inspection and finalized at the public hearing in September 17th board meeting. So right now, not every number is finalized because we want to finalize student enrollment, how many are being transported. Not all grants have provided their allocation amount. And so we are just giving a little bit of higher level of view where we are right now, what is looking up, what is shaping up. And then you'll see some minor adjustments, which I will itemize as we move on to the next budget information. So, so today we'll just go through a little bit of a high level, and I always like to start with our our state school funding formula. So it's kind of important to note that as of school year 17-18, the funding formula from the state has changed where we have been very favored. We started off at about 58% adequacy financially, and then from then on, that formula has been able to catch us up. And currently, we're at about 81.95. Today, I did receive notice what will be our final allocation for this year. So if you see here, I did not have a tier amount. If you see there is a blank spot on the last paragraph there, we're looking at about 289,000, and last year we received an additional funding of about 578. So you can see that we are starting to get into that financial adequacy of 100% as we're going over the years. But really what helped us is the property tax grant. This is, I was able to zoom this. So under the property tax grant is the one that kind of helped us. It was kind of an in and out where the state would give us a grant amount to provide taxpayer relief. So we were able to take advantage of it. We were eligible for about 4 years, and we will run another taxpayer relief of about $6.4 million this year as well due to this grant. This grant has really helped us. It was able to catch us up on our financial adequacy. So it's very important to note that last year, or in school year 18, All right, in school year 18, we started at about 22 million. We're right now at about 57 million. So it's always worth noting how in 5 years, in about 7 years, we were able to almost double the state funding. And so far, Springfield has kept its promise, and we have been the beneficiary to it. So where are we with our budget? This is where the funds come from. This is our revenue. So as you see, most of the local property taxes takes about 45% of our streams of revenue. And this would be what our tax levy is. However, for local funds, we have other sources or other streams. We have this corporate personal property tax. This is where the state kind of collects corporate personal taxes and then distributes to the school district. We have been very, it has been high, almost 1% of our revenues due to, during time of COVID, the corporation was, the corporation kind of valuation was going higher. And when COVID was ending, the state went back to distributing. So it gave us kind of a good amount as their valuation was growing during COVID times. The next is about the other local revenue we get is usually student fees, donations, interest income, and so forth. So that makes up our local funds. The next part is our state sources. So we talked about how that evidence-based funding, that formula, provides about 38% of our revenue. And the other revenues come from either grants or transportation, lunch programs that the state provides for us. So that makes up about 5% of other states' sources. And the federal grants, this kind of important is our ESSERs. ESSER was a big component of our federal grants. Last year, we were at looking at about 13 to 15% of our revenue was coming from ESSER. So right now, it's kind of shrinking to mostly title grants. That is kind of a normal, those are legacy grants that we call them. We've had them every year. So we're back to that normal sources of revenue, about 9%. And let's take a look at where our funds are expended. So no surprises here. We're a service industry. Salaries and benefits do take almost 61%, or about 91 million. It's coming into our salaries and benefits. And our purchase service is the next highest amount. The purchase service are those that services that we purchase from others we don't employ. So that would be transportation, food service, and any other purchases. Under other, that is could be outplacement tuition, could be capitalized outlay, so facilities improvement and so forth fall under other. So you can see kind of a breakdown of all of our spending that is being budgeted for this year. I wanted to kind of give an overview. It kind of tells a lot of stories. You can see that the blue is the revenue that's coming in. And we talked about in 2017, we start getting this state funds. Well, that kind of really caught us up where the revenue streams was outpacing the expenditures. But now we're seeing that expenditures are kind of meeting up with the revenues. So that is something that we are looking closely to it. And even for the business office structure, we were able to promote a new position of the budget manager, which will provide that coaching, that monitoring, that extra layer of view on the budgets for not only buildings, but also departments. I wanted to kind of give a look of our historical trends on our savings account, or as something that we call our fund balance, our reserves. So right now we're 52%, and you can see it's kind of normal with the school districts around us to have 6 months worth of expenditures. So you can see that as our expenditures are growing, that fund reserve is actually getting smaller, right? So even though it says we moved from 59% to 52, it doesn't mean that our dollar amounts shifted, but it's our expenditures are shifted, so then that rate has gone a little bit lower. But again, we are about 6 months in case of any disruption into our funding sources. We can still run our schools, we can still make payroll, just based on our reserves, kind of like a savings account for households. That reserve, the budgeting has allowed us to provide the taxpayer relief. So this is more of a kind of a reminder, the type of things we have kind of worked with, especially with this board. We had a reduction in tax levy of about 3.7 million, and this was on top of our very favored grant season for us. We were able to overlap 2 property tax relief grants totaling 12.5. So by leveraging that, we were able to provide as early as in April, we were able to provide up to 16.2 million of taxpayer savings. One thing I do not want to note is the impact of TIF districts. So as you know, the downtown area has been an established TIF district, and that runs as much as 23 years. Currently, there is a proposal for TIF for 4th Street Southern Corridor. That's about 216 parcels or 216 properties, mostly residential. That will pretty much freeze what the increment taxes we would get over the years for the, and at this time, the city hasn't shared with us how many years that duration of that TIF will be, but it's something that does affect budget, and it's something that we are monitoring. So, but that is a form of kind of a taxpayer relief where kind of the city will collect it instead of being distributed to the school and then use it to either upgrade improvements and other dilapidated buildings. E-zones, you guys are aware of it. This would be Ferrara, Manta, Kraft. They do get form of taxpayers, tax relief rather, that we are part of, and this kind of helps energize the economic development in the district. We have done also one-to-one abatements with properties such as 3M, Penduit. Now E-zone has kind of taken that direct control that we had between companies and has done it through their E-zone board. So that's way they are able to actually attract much larger industry. So before we would go one-to-one with Penduit, with 3M, and we were providing these abatements. And so we have leverage. We have leveraged the savings. We have leveraged through bond restructuring. One way, part of the tax levy is actually paying the debt for the high school, Cortland, the refitting of the Huntley, and so forth. So we have been able to restructure our debt so that the residents are able to pay less interest. So that's kind of gives you a little bit of a quick overview of it. We are also under agreement with the city under an impact fee where we do waive to attract new buildings or new subdivisions construction in DeKalb. We have been able to waive the impact fees. That would be an impact when students coming in, the impact that costs to the district. We have waived that when construction happens. So. This is kind of a nice overview of how we are also being able to decrease our tax rate through the years as our market value of the homes have grown. We were able to lower the tax rate, even though a lot of maybe property owners may have not seen a tax amount decrease. The tax rate has been lowered. It's the market value of that home, or the tax base of that home that has increased. So, but as you can see, the district in the past 5 years was able to lower it by about 1.5%. So big changes there. And this is kind of just a nice visual as we provided taxpayer relief. You can see there we were able to have the highest taxpayer relief in a 5-year span last year. This is that 16.3 million that I talked about. The last time we did something like that was in 2020, where we restructured our debt, where we paid off a referendum bond so that we restructured it, not necessarily paid it off, we restructured it in a way that we paid less interest. And that was a 10 million that we used out of our reserves. And so this is kind of an overview what we take into account as we think of the budget and how our budget is shaping up. The next board meeting, you will be approving a tentative budget. So again, it's so preliminary. So any type of adjustment, probably EBF is the first one, any new grants. And if I know what the transportation cost will be, that will be coming up on the next board meeting. That will give you until the second meeting in September. The public will inspect it, and then they will have a public hearing on the September 17th, and that's when the final budget is then approved, sent to state, sent to the ROE, sent to the DeKalb County, and then we are on our way to start the projected path. Anything I can?
I guess the one question that I would have with this is, so in 2023 tax year, we were able to essentially double stack the property tax relief grant, right? To equal 12.5 million. Now I'm assuming that's not a thing we can do every year where we get lucky and happen to stack them. Which means that the next go around, we're gonna have almost over $6 million that we're not getting an extra double dip abatement on. So how do we make sure that the taxpayer, I guess, and if I'm misunderstanding it, correct me if I'm wrong, but like, the taxpayer will be stuck on the hook for another $6 million next year that we're not double stacking with the grant, correct?
So that will be a board decision. As we get the new numbers, the tax levies, as we shape up what the projections are that we need for next year, and how we can run what our tax levy is or what our budget is for the projected years. That is something that will be a decision for the board.
Okay.
And it does allow the board that. And we have done abatements every year, so.
Yeah. Thank you.
I don't know if you know this obviously out of the top of your head, but with ESSER funds going away, and you mentioned that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And us moving from a tier 1 to a tier 2 district, right? How much of a decrease can we anticipate seeing or foresee with the upcoming year?
So the first hit that we will see is this, if you see here is that tier 1 allocation. So last year we had 578,000. This year we'll have about 289. So that's the first hit, because that's the additional money. The good news is that number here that we got last year, the total number, it becomes our base funding, which means we are kind of held harmless the following year. So we know what to expect every year. It's whatever was the final number the previous year. So we know that. The next thing, which is kind of more unpredictable, will be this property tax relief grant. So we won't know if we're gonna get or we're eligible for this grant until November of this year, which it's kind of closer to the tax levy time. That's why they do it that way. But it would be nice to know if will be eligible this year as well, which would kind of be that overlapping that Chris was talking about, to kind of cushion from moving from a 16.2 million to 6.5. So having that spread, it would be nice to know, but those calculations do not come until November. However, as you move higher into tiers, chances of that starts shrinking as well.
And then I just wanted to bring that up, because I know that obviously as we move up, we do lose funding from that, and then it also looks like we received a lot of funding, but a lot of it was from ESSER, right, when it comes to the federal portion of it. And with that, all of those things reducing and obviously going away, because they were just temporary, I was just wondering how that would impact, our overall budget, but.
So, one thing with ESSER, it's an in and out because it's a reimbursement system with the federal government. So the good thing is that we did not put in permanent salaries. There was very few which we could absorb, but for the bulk of it was either a one-time maintenance, about 2.7 million was all on one-time maintenance, and the other ones were like a learning loss or a summer academy that kind of were not necessarily meant to be
Long-term, but rather temporary. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you for sharing that.
Sure.
All right, any other questions? No? All right. Consensus to bring this back?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and Dr. Garcia Sanchez is not here today, but is there something that's being updated? Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I think
I'll
Mr. Billy
come up
Verma
here so you can hear me.
is going to be,
So I just want to send out a shout out to our ice cream social event that we had yesterday for back to school. Let's see, Nancy from Cream King, she was there in Malta Park, and then also joined us in Cortland. We probably had about 50 to 55 students and family members in Malta, and yes, Jen Hilliard, I told her she won yesterday. Cortland beat Malta, and they actually had about 65-ish, so. It was a great event, and tomorrow, we'll be at the village at, remind me, 4:30. So, all those who can join, come out. It's a great time. It's great to socialize with the students, the families. They had a really good time. It was super hot. I don't know if it's gonna be as hot tomorrow, but, ice cream's always good, so, thank you.
And then the cabinet won't pat themselves on the back, so Minerva did ask me to. We want to specifically thank Deetra, Billy, Kyle, and Jackie for representing. We also want to thank Jen Hilliard and Melissa Yu for joining us at Cortland. And just a reminder that that one will be tomorrow. Then I'm also supposed to thank Billy, Sarah, and Kyle for organizing and facilitating a great 3-day school leadership summit last week. Seems like they're very excited for things that are gonna come this school year. There will be a back to school bash coming up this Saturday in partnership with New Hope. So that's something that you wanna be able to go to. And then the first day of school is August 14th. That's next week on Wednesday. Really important to show up on time, especially if we're at the high school. We wanna make sure we've got those IDs running right, so.
and middle school, right?
Is it a full day or a half day?
It's a half day.
It's a half day apparently.
The back to school bash is, do you have the time?
You might.
11 to 1 on Saturday.
I didn't get a very
11 to 1.
detailed text.
We're getting like
Chris.
Great job. All right. Any other questions, comments, or concerns?
I got a comment.
Yes, of course.
Last Friday, I attended the graduation for the summer school at the high school. I thought it was great. That the opportunity those kids got to put the cap and gowns on. Donna and her staff done an excellent job. But I do have to ask you, how long have you been doing that?
This is our third year.
Third year.
Third year.
Great idea,
Thank you.
great idea.
Thanks. We enjoy it very much.
So congrats to that, and thank you for hosting that. Thank you, and congratulations to our students that graduated this summer as well. So, thank you. All right, any other questions, comments, concerns? All right, and with that, it is now 7:48, and with that, it is recommended that the Board of Education will adjourn. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great night. Be safe out there.